California's bills to stage the Highway Patrol and National Guard at recent protests are being added up, and it's costly. KCRA 3 political analyst and senior vice president of Randall Communications, Kevin Riggs, joins us this morning for the Riggs Report. So, Kevin, what are the numbers right now? How much is this adding up to?
Well, the numbers do add up quickly, Tony, given the large amount of civil unrest in the state in recent weeks. So according to the latest numbers, the California Highway Patrol has racked up some $38 million in overtime costs for its officers up and down the state. That is in addition, that $38 million, in addition to the $25 million that California has already spent to mobilize the National Guard up and down California, including right here in Sacramento. Those numbers come in a new letter to the Joint Legislative Budget Committee from State Finance Director Keely Bosler. That letter goes on to say that under the governor's emergency powers, that $38 million in overtime costs for the CHP will be covered from the state's general fund, which is California's main budget account. So pretty costly.
Kevin, we know lawmakers and Governor Newsom continue to negotiate behind closed doors in a key budget dispute over spending cuts. Any progress being made here?
Well, they are still talking, at least. We know that. The main dispute is over how much relief money can reasonably be expected to come to California from Washington, D.C. to deal with the effects of the pandemic. Governor Newsom takes the point of view that he wants to assume there's not enough money coming from Washington. He wants to have some $14 billion in spending cuts be triggered as of July the 1st. That would affect schools, that would affect healthcare, social services, and then those cuts would be triggered off or rolled back if Washington comes through with enough money. Now, the legislature takes a very opposite point of view. They want to assume that the Washington, D.C. folks are going to come through with the money, and thus they want to delay the deep spending cuts until the fall, perhaps until September or October. So that is the heart of the dispute that's being negotiated right now. Really kind of doubtful they're going to be able to resolve that dispute before the end of this week, and that's when the legislature is supposed to go on its summer recess.
But doesn't the governor have a lot of leverage here? Does he have the final say?
Well, I think he does have a tremendous amount of leverage. There's an old saying, the legislature proposes, the governor disposes, and among the tools at the governor's disposal is his blue pencil. If the talks go badly from his point of view, he can simply take his blue pencil, Tony, and go through that budget document over the next couple of weeks and make deep spending cuts on his own. The governor also has the option of vetoing the budget outright. Now, Governor Brown did that back in 2011, much to the displeasure of the legislature, saying the budget was unbalanced. So Newsom does have that option. I think he wants to negotiate rather than veto. But if he did, then the legislature would have to make the decision, do they try and override that veto, which they could do with a 2/3 vote. That hasn't happened in California, that kind of a veto override, since 1979. So it's a pretty rare thing. But then again, we are in strange times.
Yes, we are. That's for sure. That's a big understatement, huh? Kevin, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And Kevin does write a political blog. You can read it on the KCRA 3 News app every Thursday.